Okay, here we go with the tips for the calculator. The first thing that I see that is a major problem is entering scientific notation. So let's start there. The first thing I want to do is 100 divided by 2 times 10 to the 8th. Alright, so what I see most students do is pick up their calculator and type in this. 100, let's try to get rid of that glare. Here we go. 100 divided by 2 times 10 to the 8th. Alright, and a student that's not thinking will just write down that answer like it's correct. However, if you think about it, we have a relatively small number, 100, divided by a relatively large number. We should not get a really large number, we should get a really small number, so that is incorrect. What happens is your calculator does 100 divided by 2, which is 50, and then times 10 to the 8th, and that's why we get 50 times 10 to the 8th. There's a couple ways you can fix that, and I'm going to show you some tips here. One is to insert parentheses around your 2 times 10 to the 8th. So here's a tip. First, you can hit second enter. You see that down there at the bottom. Second enter. And that brings up what you just typed in, so no need to retype it in. And then we can go back and insert parentheses. So you don't have to retype the whole thing. We can just hit second delete, and that will allow you to insert without writing over your numbers, and we can type in parentheses. Then hit enter, and that gives us the correct answer, 5 times 10 to the negative 7. But there's an even faster way, so here's my third tip, I guess. 100 divided by 2, and then you see this EE right here above the comma. That means times 10 to the. So we hit second comma, that brings up E. So that means 2 times 10 to the 8th. Way less buttons to push. We hit enter, and what that does is it groups the 2 and times 10 to the 8th together. One thing to watch out for, you don't want to put in a multiplication sign there because the E already means times 10 to the. So if you do that, we're going to get the same answer as before, which is incorrect. So you want to use just 2E8, and that will keep those numbers together. So right there, there's 3 tips for you. Using the second entry to bring up what you most recently typed in. You can delete from there to make it correct. And then also using the insert to insert parentheses, or say you just missed a number when you went back and looked at it, so you don't have to type in your work all over again. You can just correct it. Here is my second tip when doing long calculations. Let's use a formula that we all should know, the quadratic formula, which will probably come up in one of your classes here. So the quadratic formula is the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is a long calculation, lots of room for error. So I'm going to show you a couple tips in here how to use this, and you can use this with any equation that you're using. 4. So that gives us the opposite of 3 plus or minus the square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 4 all over 2 times 2. All right, this is a pain if you're going to have to do it twice. So here's what I'm going to show you. We are going to group together this part here because we're going to need to use that twice in the plus or minus section. So what I'm going to do is type all that into my calculator. The square root of 3 squared minus, I'm going to put this in parentheses, 4 times 2 times negative 4. All right, that is all of that right there. And then here's the tip. I'm going to store that number. If you look down here at the bottom, right above the on button, there's an STO button. You push that. We're going to store that answer in X. This button here right below the mode button, push that and hit enter. So what that does is it stores that number there. Anytime you use it, it's going to be stored there until you replace it with something else. So now all we have to do is minus 3 plus X all over 2 times 2, and also minus 3 minus X all over 2 times 2. And that makes it a lot faster. So we're going to do minus 3 plus X, and actually, you know what, we're going to want to put that in parentheses, so I'm going to insert some parentheses. Otherwise, we're going to get into trouble. Usually when you're dividing things that have plus or minus signs in the top, you want to put them in parentheses. And that divided by, again, parentheses just to be safe, 2 times 2. So that gives us our first answer, 0.85. And then our second answer, we don't even have to type in all that again. You can use one of the tips I already showed you. Hit second enter. I'm going to move my camera down so you can see that. Second enter brings up what you just typed in. And all you got to do is back up and replace that plus with the minus. Boom, there is our second answer. So I know that was still cumbersome, but way less so than typing in the whole thing twice. So I hope those tips helped you, and I hope that you can learn a few things from this and be a little more careful with your math and get you a little more points on your exams, because that's what we want. All right, thank you. Have a great day.